Do not say about those who are killed in the way of Allah, they are dead. No, they are alive, but you do not recognize it. And surely we will test you with something of fear and hunger and loss of wealth and lives and crops. But give good news to the sabirin, the patient, who say when a disaster faces them, truly we belong to Allah, and truly to Allah we will return. Those are the ones on whom are blessings from their Lord and a mercy. Those are the rightly guided ones. Sadaqallah al-Azim. May peace and blessings be upon the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who said, the person who includes my Ahlul Bayt when reciting Darud and wants to receive an eternal reward in its fullest extent, he should say, Ya Allah, send peace upon our Master Muhammad ﷺ, the messenger, and his wives, the mothers of the believers, and his offspring, and his Ahlul Bayt, as you sent peace upon our Master Ibrahim. Truly, you are praiseworthy, glorious. May peace and blessings also be upon his holy companions, the Sahaba Kiram. May peace and blessings be upon the four Khulafa Rashidin, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar Farooq, Hazrat Osman al-Ghani, and Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, and all those who follow them until the last day. May peace and blessings be upon the grand sheikhs of this most noble tariqat, who bring their murids under the shade of Sohbat. May peace and blessings be upon the Ottoman sultans, whose love for Allah, His Prophet, and their friends gave birth to the most just and noble empire known to man. May Allah love those who love them. May Allah curse those who hate them. Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, O believers, Alhamdulillah, that we're in the holy days of Muharram, in the new year of 1443. In a few days, we are going to enter into the holy day of Ashura, inshallah Rahman, the 10th day of Muharram. We all know that this is a holy day. But as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, BismillahirRahmanirRahim, remind, because reminding benefits the believers. Sadaqallah al-Azim. In a hadith coming down to us from Ghawsul Azam, Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh is narrating that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, if someone fasts on the day of Ashura, Allah will record in his favor the ibadat of 60 years devoted to fasting by day and keeping tahajjud by night. If someone fasts on the day of Ashura, he will be granted the spiritual reward of 1,000 shuhada. If someone fasts on the day of Ashura, Allah Ta'ala will grant him the reward of the inhabitants of the 7 heavens. If someone provides a believer with a meal to break his fast on the night of Ashura, it will be just as if the entire Ummah Muhammad had broken fast as his guests, and they ate their fill. If someone strokes the head of an orphan with his hand on the day of Ashura, for every hair on the orphan's head, Allah Ta'ala will promote him by 1 degree in the garden of paradise. Hearing this, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh said, Ya Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah has treated us with favor by granting us this Yamul Ashura. The Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam continued and said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens on the day of Ashura, and the earth likewise. He created the mountains and the stars on the day of Ashura. He created the Arsh and the Kursi on the day of Ashura. He created the tablet and the pen on the day of Ashura. He created Jibreel alayhi salam and the angels on the day of Ashura. He created Hazrat Adam on the day of Ashura. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was born on the day of Ashura, and Allah Ta'ala saved him from the fire of Nimrud on the day of Ashura. Then Allah Ta'ala saved his son Ismail from being sacrificed on the day of Ashura. Allah caused Firaun to drown on the day of Ashura. He raised Hazrat Idris up to heaven on the day of Ashura. He relieved Hazrat Ayub of his agony on the day of Ashura. He raised Hazrat Isa on the day of Ashura, and Hazrat Isa was born on the day of Ashura. Allah turned towards Hazrat Adam on the day of Ashura, and He accepted the dua of Hazrat Dawood on Ashura. Allah granted kingship to Sulaiman alayhi salam on the day of Ashura. Allah established Himself upon the Arsh on the day of Ashura. The day of judgment will occur on the day of Ashura. The first rain fell from the sky on the day of Ashura. The first gift of mercy came down from above on the day of Ashura. And in the day of Ashura, it is the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Nuh alayhi salam and the ship of Nuh alayhi salam, and it landed on the mountain. So this is the day that is approaching. Believers who care about holy days and holy nights will prepare now to move. Will do some activity, will show some care, so that they may honor this day that was honored by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. They are not going to be busy about themselves or their wants or their desires or their ego. They are going to be busy on this day with Allah and His Prophet. Understand that if we're not running in these days to get the mercy of our Lord, it is a sign that we have lost our faith. Shaykh Effendi is saying, the holy days that Allah is saying to us, show proper respect to these days. If you show proper respect to these days, I may like you. I may set you free. Where are you? If you are not showing respect to holy days and nights, then I have doubt with your faith. And the words of the friends of Allah, they speak the truth. So Ashura is coming. So many people take it seriously when it is the 1-year anniversary of their father or their mother or their relatives passed away. Are we taking Ashura seriously? That the beloved grandson of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, Hazrat Hussein ibn Ali radiallahu an, was also martyred on Karbala on the day of Ashura. Who is Hazrat Hussein? The grandson of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the son of Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, the son of Hazrat Fatima Zahra, the brother of Hazrat Hassan. The one that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said about him, Hussein is from me and I am from him. May Allah love those who love him. He is that one that the Holy Prophet ﷺ named him, called Azan and Iqamat in his ears, put saliva in his mouth and cut akikah for him, the beloved grandson of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who was martyred in the Maidan of Karbala by those. He was martyred in the Maidan of Karbala and betrayed in the Maidan of Karbala by those who prayed, who fasted, who gave zakat, by those who made hajj. We should sit and remember, not to make a show, not to tear your clothes and beat yourself up, but to think and make tafakkur. Not to run with our emotions and to mourn, but to think and to make tafakkur and to ask ourselves and to use our intelligence. What did Hazrat Hussein go through? What did Holy Prophet ﷺ go through? Could I do that? What did Ibn Sa'd and Shimir and Yazid, what did they do? Am I like them? Could I become an enemy to the beloved of Allah? Is there a possibility I could be an enemy to the beloved of Allah? And the murids and people in tariqat, they're going to say no, then think again. Because we are here to understand that our ego is worse than shaitan, worse than Abu Jahl. Yes, worse than Yazid. Our shaitan and our ego is worse than that. So a sincere person who sits and thinks like that, he will start crying, not tears of revenge and hatred, but tears of begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for safety of the ego, and tears understanding the high maqam of Hazrat Hussein. Shaykh Maulana Nazim al-Haqqani is saying, people must cry on him. They must cry for Sayyidina Hussein. He is going to make intercession for everyone who is crying for him also. We cannot understand the history of Hazrat Hussein without a Shaykh. It is impossible. With a Shaykh, with an Ahlul Bayt Shaykh, with an Osmanli Shaykh, with a Naqshbandi Shaykh, yes, we may start to understand what is for us. Alhamdulillah, for Sahib al-Sayf, who showed us the reality and helped us to take lesson for ourselves from this history. Shaykh Effendi is saying, in that time, everywhere is tyranny. They sent hundreds of letters to him from all those areas, from Kufa to Iran to Iraq to all those areas, saying, Ya Hussein, come, be our leader, because the suffering is everywhere. Yazid is doing this everywhere. Hazrat Hussein walked to his destiny. Don't think that Hazrat Hussein trusted them, because his brother gave him warning, saying, my brother, these people, they have betrayed our father, Hazrat Ali. They have betrayed Hazrat Hassan. They will betray you. They have betrayed so many others. Hazrat Hussein said, my brother, you know that I am walking to my destiny. He said, in that case, I will hug you and go. And he did. Understand that Hazrat Hussein radiallahu anh knew that he was moving according to the orders of his grandfather. When his nephews came to ask him not to go to Kufa, he said, I had a dream and saw Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, and he has given me an order. Whether I will benefit or not, I will obey what our Prophet had said. I have not told the dream to anyone, nor will I tell anyone until I meet my Allah. No, he was not motivated by power or by dunya or by his family. He was motivated by obeying the order of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, by standing for haqq. Shaykh Effendi is saying, Hazrat Hussein said, I am a role model. I will not live with the tyrant. You are the ruler of Islam. You have the ruling. I will not live with you then. I go out from this mess because you are not living according to Islam. And I'm not going to live under your ruling. So many of those traders from Kufa came with him to Karbala. Shaykh Effendi is saying 4,000 people. Overnight they were sitting with Hazrat Hussein, and next day they know that for sure they are going to attack them, and they all left. Up till that day they said, that minute they said, we will die for you. And Hazrat Hussein looked at them. He said to them that night, tomorrow it's coming to me. That is real. Most of you are here because you love me, but you are not ready to sacrifice your life in the way that we are doing. But you are feeling shame of thinking that how it's going to count if you leave now. So when that night time is setting, use that darkness and go away if your heart is not 100%, because tomorrow is the day. And that's what happened. And all those, they stood and said, no, we don't leave you, Ya Hussein. But when morning comes, they looked around. There's only 70, 80 people there left, and most of them, they were his children and his grandchildren. That should make a man who has sincerity and faith to fear. Hazrat Hussein is saying to them that, yes, I know you love me, but you're not ready to sacrifice. We cannot claim that anyone has asked us to sacrifice anything. But are we just claiming love with words? Or are our words backed up with actions? Are we doing anything in the way of Allah and His Prophet and our Shaykh that shows that our love is real? Or are we like those Kufans, saying with full emotion and full feeling, we love you, we love you. But when the test comes, they melt away. This is what should scare us. And may Allah protect us from that weakness. Understand, were the people who came to Karbala to fight? Understand, were the people who came to Karbala to fight Hazrat Hussein? Shah Effendi is talking about Ibn Sa'd, one of the leaders of that army, saying, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is his father. He is the only person, Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Waqqas, my father and my mother is sacrificed to you. And his son grew up together. Yazid, Hazrat Hussein, and his son, they grew up in the same place. And Hazrat Sa'd, that he is from Ashra Mubashara, his son betrayed Hazrat Hussein, because Yazid promised him that he will make him to be the governor of Iran, of Persia. And that person gave the order saying, today by noontime you have to finish this, you have to cut them all. There are those that came to the battlefield who changed to the side of Hazrat Hussein, like Hazrat Hur. Hazrat Hur was the first general who was sent to just to keep control over Hazrat Hussein's group and not let them leave. He even prayed behind Hazrat Hussein during the prayer times. But then the orders started coming from the governor saying, tomorrow you must slaughter Hazrat Hussein and bring me his head. Shah Effendi is saying, General Hur was shocked. He never expected this. He never liked this. He thought that they were continuing bluffing, but they didn't. He said, you are giving order for Hazrat Hussein and his children, these grandchildren of the Prophet ﷺ, to be slaughtered? Ibn Sa'd said, yes, this is the order coming from Yazid, from Khalifa. He said, okay. He went into his room. He said to his brother and his son who were there, he told them, this is what happened, this is the order that I've just reached. I swear until now, I haven't thought to go to the side of Hussein, but now definitely I will go to his side, and I will die before him. You are my brother, you are my son. You are also the general of this army. You do as you like. His brother said, oh my brother, I am with you. His son is saying, I am with you too. And they went as usual, going to talk to Hazrat Hussein. Hazrat Hussein saw them coming and he asked, what happened? He said, Ya Hussein, you must forgive me, because this is what happened. For that, now I'm going to be in front now, and I sacrifice my life to you. And that's what he did. Yes, he went forward in the battle and was martyred, protecting Hazrat Hussein and his family. Because it was the grandchildren of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that were there, understand that all the men were martyred, except Hazrat Zain al-Abidin, who was too sick to fight. The night before the battle, Hazrat Zain al-Abidin is saying, he heard his father Hazrat Hussein speaking to Hazrat Zainab, who was crying. And Hazrat Hussein said, be patient, be afraid of Allah, believe in his orders and thank him. My mother Fatima binti Rasul passed away. My father Ali was martyred. My brother Hassan was martyred. And all the people who are on this earth will one day die, and even the angels will have to die. So there is no doubt that one day, the day will come when everything will die and only Allah will remain. We all have to obey our Prophet. If the people who are better than us have gone, then who are we to think that we will not go? We will have to go one day. Oh, my sister, if I die tomorrow, I don't want you to pull your hair or beat your chest or cry loudly. Be patient, because Allah is with those who are patient. Understand that in Karbala, they prevented Hazrat Hussein and his family from having any water. It was a Friday. And it went all the way to Jummah time, when some from Hazrat Hussein's camp asked to stop the battle to pray Jummah. One of Shimir's soldiers said, what's the point of saying your prayers when they are not accepted? What is it that made them to hate them so much? What made them to start to attack the tents where the women and the children were? What made them to martyr the last living grandson of Rasulullah ﷺ, to cut his head, to mutilate his body? What made them to take the niqabs off of the women of the Ahlul Bayt? Shaykh Effendi is saying, look what dunya does to people. I am seeing that with everyone. Just a drop of dunya makes people to change so much. Yes. Those ones who were against Hazrat Hussein, they were not living to bring more glory and power to Islam. They were living to build up themselves, their family, their dunya. Hazrat Hussein as an individual, as a grandson of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, as a symbol of haqq, he stood against their plans, and so they came to slaughter him and his family. If we open the door to be drunk in the love of dunya in our heart, if we let our ego to take over us, don't doubt for even 1 second that we will become worse than Yazid, worse than Shimir. Don't doubt that we are going to betray the ones that we said, we love you, and we kiss your hands and your feet, and may everything be sacrificed for you. As Hazrat Maulana Rumi Qadasat Sir is saying, religion is your Hussein. When your desires and your vain hopes, while your desires and vain hopes, they are pigs and dogs, you kill your Hussein and feed your desires and vain hopes. How can you keep on cursing the wicked Yazid and Shimir? You are a Shimir and a Yazid to your own Hussein. We have a Hussein. Our guide is our Hussein. Are we standing with him? Or are we slowly in the night changing sides? If our ego is ruling on us, there's a very big danger that one day we will be from the traitors. We will be from the traitors who were friendly and who loved Hazrat Hussein, but then got tricked and even started to accuse Hazrat Hussein of betraying his own grandfather, of betraying Islam. As Hazrat Hakim Sanai Qadasal Sir is saying, Sanai, since you haven't been cut off from your ego yet, how can you talk of Hussein? The history of Karbala is not there for us to say without shame, I am a Husseini. As Hazrat Sanai is saying, until we cut that ego, don't even talk of Hazrat Hussein. We must start by knowing our Yazid and our Shimir and work to take out that Yazid from inside of us, not to think that we are better, not to look down on others. The history of Karbala is there for us to look and examine and to see what made people who called themselves Muslims, who prayed and fasted and did Hajj, who said once upon a time, we love you, Ya Hussein. What made them come to kill the grandson of the Holy Prophet? It is to come and to look and to see how did those who claim to love Hazrat Hussein betray him when the time for loyalty came. If we look at Karbala with those eyes, then inshallah Rahman we will take the steps to train our ego and to remove betrayal from inside of ourselves. Yes, then that time every day is Karbala. The world did not end yet. It is ending, but not yet. Before the world ends, Hazrat Mahdi alayhi salam will appear. Mahdi alayhi salam, he is from the Ahlul Bayt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Ankabut, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, do people think they will be left to say we believe and they will not be put to the test? Definitely we tested those who went before them, and Allah will definitely make clear those who are truthful, and He will definitely make clear those who are liars. Sadaqallah al-Azim. And we are begging Allah not to test us. But we're also asking that if He tests us, that He lets us to pass that test with the support and with the blessings of our Shaykh. A grandson of Holy Prophet ﷺ is still going to come to this world to raise a flag, to take the takbir and to stand for haqq. He will call people to the way of his grandfather. Those who are not practicing the way of his grandfather, big possibility they are going to be against to Hazrat Mahdi. Because Mahdi alayhi salam is going to call people to fight against their ego and to fight against the enemies inside and outside. But Dajjal is going to say, everything is love. Will we come to fight against Hazrat Mahdi being drunk on dunya? As Dajjal will promise us dunya, and he will promise us akhirat. Or will we stay in his tent, eat from his food, drink from his water, and listen to his sohbat, take from his benefit, be blessed by him? But when the test comes, in the moonless night, we betray him. We have seen this happening to our Shaykh time and time and time again. And we are living in those times as well. Wake up and take lesson, or you'll become a lesson. Only through a sohbat with a living Shaykh that you submit to, that you obey, that you give your muhabbat to, only with that we will be able to understand and then to take out betrayal from our hearts before the time for the test comes. Don't think you can do it alone. Our Shaykh, one of the grandsons of Hazrat Hussein, is speaking to us. His words are reaching to us, saying, we don't have too much time left. The lions of Islam are going to rise. It is easy to bring this kufr down. When they are going to bring the flag of Islam open again, that flag is not going to lose. That flag is going to win again. But those ones that they are going to do, they are ready. They are sitting and they are waiting. They have no problem. We should be worried. Are we going to be from those people that when the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, now that you wanted war, now that we are going to better war, and those 300s, 400 said, we thought that order is never going to come, and they just disappeared. Are we going to be from those ones that are going to be ready to sacrifice our lives? Or are we going to be from those ones who turned around and left? What you're doing today will answer that question. Don't wait until tomorrow. What you're doing yesterday will answer that question. The only difference is the time has not come yet. The chance is still given to us. The mercy is still for us to turn around. But we must sit and judge our own self to understand which side we are standing, because we will be tested. Just like those ones, we are going to be tested. So inshallah Rahman, we are going to say yes. We are going to stand up. When can we say that? When our faith is going to be strong. When the love of akhirat, the love of Allah and His Prophet is going to be more in this heart than the dunya. That time, yes, we will stand. That time, you will say definitely, yes, we will die for this. Check your heart to see if there is more love in your heart towards dunya and to dunya. Understand what is dunya. Dunya is not only the material. Dunya is whatever that is between you and Allah. That is your dunya, your child. If you love them more than anything else, that will be your dunya. You are not going to be able to sacrifice that. Or you love your wife. That will be your dunya. Or you love your husband. That will be your dunya. You are not going to be able to say, well, now it's time, let's move together. No. So check your heart and start building your faith. Start charging your batteries. Start filling up the heart batteries to be fully charged. So your duty is to sit and to wait, because the Holy Prophet is saying in Akhir Zaman, that's what's going to happen. People are not going to run after haqq. And they are not going to give obedience to Allah. If you are living in that time, keep the haqq and be patient. Don't interfere because you cannot change so many things. Try to change yourself. Be in an awakening station. Prepare yourself and wait for the Sahibul Zaman to take the takbir. When that one is coming out, he is not going to say, I am the Mahdi. He is going to start doing his job. Taking the takbir and doing everything. No man, no power is going to stop that one. It's almost about to happen. Wake up to yourself. ومن الله توفيق. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله العظيم العظيم لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحان قدوس ومن إن دين الله الإسلام. قام الصلاة.
آله كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وترحم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما ترحمت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وتحنن على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحننت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما سلمت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وارحم سيدنا محمدا وآل سيدنا محمد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت ورحمت وباركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذريته وأهل بيته كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم داحي المدحوات وبارئ المسموكات وجبار القلوب على فطرتها شقيها وسعيدها، اجعل شرائف صلواتك ونوامي بركاتك ورأفة تحننك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق والمعلن الحق بالحق والدامغ لجيشات الأباطيل، كما حمل فاضطلع بأمرك بطاعتك مستنفذا في مرضاتك واعيا لوحيك حافظا لعهدك ماضيا على نفاذ أمرك حتى أورى قبسا لقابس آلاء الله تصل بأهله أسبابه به هديت القلوب بعد خوضات الفتن والإثم وأبهج موضحات الأعلام ونائرات الأحكام ومنيرات الإسلام، فهو أمينك المأمون وخازن علمك المخزون وشهيدك يوم الدين وبعيثك نعمة ورسولك بالحق رحمة. اللهم افسح له في عدنك واجزه مضاعفات الخير من فضلك مهنآت له غير مكدرات من فوز ثوابك المحلول وجزيل عطائك المعلول. اللهم أعل على بناء الناس بناءه وأكرم مثواه لديك ونزله وأتمم له نوره واجزه من ابتعاثك له مقبول الشهادة ومرضي المقالة ذا منطق عدل وخطة فصل وبرهان عظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. لبيك اللهم ربي وسعديك صلوات الله البر الرحيم والملائكة المقربين والنبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين، وما سبح لك من شيء يا رب العالمين على سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله خاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين ورسول رب العالمين الشاهد البشير الداعي إليك بإذنك السراج المنير عليه السلام. اللهم اجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك على سيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك إمام الخير وقائد الخير ورسول الرحمة. اللهم ابعثه مقاما محمودا يغبطه فيه الأولون والآخرون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأولاده وأزواجه وذريته وأهل بيته وأصهاره وأنصاره وأشياعه ومحبه وأمته وعلينا معهم أجمعين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عدد من صلى عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد من لم يصل عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد كما أمرتنا بالصلاة عليه وصل عليه كما يحب أن يصلى عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما أمرتنا أن نصلي عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما هو أهله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحب وترضاه له. اللهم يا رب سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد صل على سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد وأعط سيدنا محمدا الدرجة والوسيلة في الجنة. اللهم يا رب سيدنا محمد وآل سيدنا محمد اجز سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من الصلاة شيء. وارحم سيدنا محمدا وآل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من الرحمة شيء. وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من البركة شيء. وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد حتى لا يبقى من السلام شيء. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين. وصل على سيدنا محمد في النبيين وصل على سيدنا محمد في المرسلين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أعط سيدنا محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة الكبيرة. اللهم إني آمنت بسيدنا محمد ولم أره فلا تحرمني في الجنان رؤيته وارزقني صحبته وتوفني على ملته واسقني من حوضه مشربا رويا سائغا هنيئا لا نظمأ بعده أبدا إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم أبلغ روح سيدنا محمد مني تحية وسلاما. اللهم وكما آمنت بسيدنا محمد ولم أره فلا تحرمني في الجنان رؤيته. اللهم تقبل شفاعة سيدنا محمد الكبرى وارفع درجته العليا وآته سؤله في الآخرة والأولى كما آتيت سيدنا إبراهيم وسيدنا موسى. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد نبيك ورسولك وسيدنا إبراهيم خليلك وصفيك وسيدنا موسى كليمك ونجيك وسيدنا عيسى روحك وكلمتك وعلى جميع ملائكتك ورسلك وأنبيائك وخيرتك من خلقك وأصفيائك وخاصتك وأوليائك من أهل أرضك وسمائك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد عدد خلقه ورضاء نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته وكما هو أهله وكلما ذكره الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون وعلى أهل بيته وعترته الطاهرين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى أزواجه وذريته وعلى جميع النبيين والمرسلين والملائكة والمقربين وجميع عباد الله الصالحين عدد ما أمطرت السماء منذ بنيتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما أنبتت الأرض منذ دحوتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد النجوم في السماء فإنك أحصيتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما تنفست الأرواح منذ خلقتها. وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما خلقت وما تخلق وما أحاط به علمك وأضعاف ذلك. اللهم صل عليهم عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ومبلغ علمك وآياتك. اللهم صل عليهم صلاة تفوق وتفضل صلاة المصلين عليهم من الخلق أجمعين كفضلك على جميع خلقك. اللهم صل عليهم صلاة دائمة مستمرة الدوام على مر الليالي والأيام متصلة الدوام لا انقضاء لها ولا انصرام على مر الليالي والأيام عدد كل.
Yeah, say.
He has a calorie counting app, and I was able to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
He's eating so many cookies, so many things like that, and he's keeping track of it. He's hiding it from us, but he's telling his calorie counter.
أرضك وسمائك عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ومنتهى علمك وزنة جميع مخلوقاتك صلاة مكررة أبدا عدد ما أحصى علمك وملء ما أحصى علمك وأضعاف ما أحصى علمك صلاة تزيد وتفوق وتفضل صلاة المصلين عليهم من الخلق أجمعين كفضلك على جميع خلقك. اللهم اجعلني ممن لزم ملة نبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعظم حرمته وأعز كلمته وحفظ عهده وذمته ونصر حزبه ودعوته وكثر تابعيه وفرقته ووافى زمرته ولم يخالف سبيله وسنته. اللهم إني أسألك الاستمساك بسنته وأعوذ بك من الانحراف عما جاء به. اللهم إني أسألك من خير ما سألك منه سيدنا محمد نبيك ورسولك صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه.
Say, oh, I spent all those years for nothing, wasted all. Now I have to catch up. So they'll start doing that. So you want to go to that one that accused Sheikh Effendi of what? Molesting her? That one? Oh, that went to court? Okay.
I was very sad.
This is true. Huh? This is, I'm not making this up. Take lesson from it. Take lesson from it, because these are the ones who they love Sheikh Effendi. Oh, I love you, I love you. And then they don't get what they want. One way or another, they don't get what they want. Then they hate Sheikh Effendi, and then they accuse Sheikh Effendi of that. She took him to court. Not only that, I can use heavier words, you know. This is on? Okay. I can use heavy words also. I'm not using those. Accusing Sheikh Effendi of beating her up also. So, I mean, the judge threw the case out, of course. It's so ridiculous, because these ones also, they damn themselves by saying things out in the open. They're keeping record of their own wrong things. How is she saying to Sheikh Effendi, I love you, and why don't you do this and this and this and this? And the judge says, what are you doing? This is, tossed it out. So it happened then. It's happening now. I never think for an instant I'll be able to fill in Sheikh Effendi's shoes. I'm still not, but certain things he went through, we're saying, hey, this is happening to us too. So don't be surprised, but take lesson. Take lesson. Don't look down on those ones. Don't look down on him. Take lesson. Because if you don't take lesson, you'll be a lesson. Understand? Okay. So, any questions that we have? Anything anyone wants to say? Yes. You know.
To speak, if you can benefit other people and to stay quiet.
Yeah, I didn't do it today because sometimes I get very fed up.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What is the effect of speech that does
So say again?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. After every Friday, you are reminding us to
Not every Friday. Don't say every Friday.
Frequently,
So you have reminded us often
often reminding us
that
to speak if you can benefit other people and stay
to
quiet
speak if you can benefit other people,
if it benefits other people
benefits other people and yourself.
and yourself.
Never just saying that. I'm very specific with this, because Shaykh Effendi said it. Or else be silent.
Or else be silent. What is?
I don't even say quiet. I say be silent. If you can follow simple words, then maybe that time you'll become a hafiz. This is when you don't deviate. Then that first you have to follow the sunnah. You understand? Simple things. Try to follow, but you don't follow it blindly too. You follow. Yes.
What is the effect on a person of a speech that is?
On a person on a speech?
What is the effect of that speech on the person?
Yes.
That is useless or malayani or that doesn't benefit, like physically or on the heart.
As the khutbah is saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, remind. Yes? Remind. Is the word itself saying zikr or remind? Coming from zikr also. Remind. Because reminding benefits the who? Ayat is saying this. Allah is saying this. You remember? You don't remember. You remember? You don't remember. I emphasize that. I slowed down and emphasize it too because it's the words of Allah is very interesting. Subhanallah. It's putting it like that. Most people think you have to memorize the Arabic and this and that, but you lose the meaning. People, I'm in Turkey, they say you know how to speak Arabic. So many times I want to say, Abu Jahl speaks Arabic too. What are we supposed to do? And they criticize Hazrat Bilal because of his Arabic. So what do we say? No, most of the time I say, no, I don't. Anyway, you remember? You remember? Yes or no? Yes, you remember. You must remember. You remember? No, you're sleeping. If I give the khutbah in Punjabi, then you wake up. You too. You? I don't know what you are. You remember or no? Is it yes or a no? You don't remember. What am I supposed to do? Women, you remember or no? Huh? No. You should be lucky. All the main responsibility is not up to you. Now you can say, it's okay. I don't remember. These guys say. You remember. Only one remember. And that one is not responsible for anything, especially. Remind. Because reminding benefits the believers. You understand? It benefits the believers. Tariqat is for believers. Yes? Tariqat is not for unbelievers. Tariqat is for those who want to understand themselves, not those who already found themselves. Tariqat is for those who want to understand their shaitan and is taking the direction and submitting to a living shaykh. Not to think you know better than the shaykh. It's for believers. There are believers inside of Islam, and there are munafiqs who don't believe inside of Islam too, yes? There are unbelievers, non-Muslims outside who believe, as there are non-Muslims who don't believe. So our words will hit to the believers. Doesn't matter what the outside is, what their label is, what their race is, what their religion is, it will hit them. That is the effect. They will be reminded. Reminded means that, as we all went through this is not something that is completely brand new. This is something that is so familiar. This is something that we've seen, we've experienced, we want. Yes or no? At the very least, person is going to say, oh, when I was young, my grandfather used to take me to circles like this. My grandfather used to talk about this. Old people used to, it's something that reminds you, it's not something that is completely new, alien, it's not. So those words are for those who believe, and they are reminded, and when that reminding is given to them, their faith becomes stronger. Their faith becomes stronger. What does that mean, that their faith becomes stronger? They take that and they say, yes, I must try to do that. I must try to do that. I must watch myself. What effect it has on people who don't believe? Nothing. Nothing. It's just blah, blah, blah. Nothing. It's completely alien. Not only that, it's completely useless. Whether outside they look like Muslim or non-Muslim. They may go back and then after that to laugh at us. Which people have done that? You know that? I was very interested, excited even. I said, Allah, Allah. We read about all these munafiqs doing that, and it's actually happening to us. They in front of us, they say yes, behind they talk to themselves, and then they start laughing. They say, huh, you know what? What else they believe in? What? Tell us. And they say, don't drink Coke, because it puts dunya in your heart. They start laughing. And you know what else they say? They start saying all these things, all the sunnats and things that I was saying. And in front of us, they, oh yes, Sheikh, no Sheikh. I love you, Sheikh. As you say, Sheikh, forgive me, Sheikh. Please pray for me, Sheikh. It's very interesting to me. I'm not even like upset. I'm like, oh, wow. It's kind of like, I don't know, you find a dinosaur or something. You find, it's real, it's real. They're only harming themselves. So it doesn't make much of an effect on them. Doesn't. It didn't make an effect now to those ones who don't believe. It doesn't make an effect. It didn't make an effect on those ones in the Prophet's times. 124,000 to those who don't believe. Even if they are their own family members. But because they don't believe, the prophets who are their husbands and their fathers and their uncles or their nephews, because they don't believe, it means nothing. Completely nothing. That was what was making Holy Prophet ﷺ to feel so sad. I don't like to use the word depressed, but making him very, very sad. That Holy Prophet ﷺ was feeling like that a lot. Because he was trying to save everyone he was trying to save. But Allah is saying, didn't we tell you? Already the word is proven true, that most of them, they don't believe. Why are you worrying yourself to death? On the one hand, Allah is saying you are not authority over them. On the other hand, Allah is also saying you're not responsible for them. Your duty is just to say. So our duty is just to say. What was I thinking about today? I have to think. Why is it when you have more experience? And these days they say experience is according to age. Let's just say it like that. Older you get, the more wisdom you get. What does that mean? That means you get more experience. What does that mean? That means you have perspective. What is perspective? What perspective means? You're able to look at things according to how they appear properly, right? Perspective. What is near is not far. Yes? What is far is not near. Perspective means you have, how you say? Depth. If you don't have perspective, and some people, they can't, their eyes, something happen, and they don't have perspective, they don't have depth. Everything is one-dimensional. Everything is like that. But it's not. Not everything is like that. And I said, that's kind of true to some degree. Because when you experience more things, not about age, when you experience more things, more you're going to say, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened here, this is more important like this. You have more. Everything is, you start placing them properly. Yeah? You have more perspective. You say, yes, this happened before. I know it happened before and it's happening now, but this is not here, this is over there, this is like this. This is not so important, this is not so heartbreaking, this is not so happy. We have perspective. We are listening to history for perspective. We are listening to Karbala for perspective. These days, when people don't get what they want, they may even say, oh, this is my Karbala. You understand? That is not perspective. But when you don't have too much experience, and tariqat makes you to go through that experience. When you don't have too much experience, everything is one-dimensional. You don't have perspective because you only have one thing or two things or three things happening. And you think these things, they are all in front of you, they are all important. And you behave and you react to them as if it is the most important things in the world because you don't have perspective. If you have a little bit more experience, you say, no, this heartache that yesterday I thought my world was going to end, it didn't. And tomorrow I have another heartache. With this experience, I will have more perspective. And with that, when I can see what is near and what is far, I can walk properly in this life. I can take what is from wisdom. Now, if you have a guide, oof, now that time you don't have to look too much. Just have to look to him to follow. It is important. So, the words of Allah will not have an effect on the unbelievers. And I don't mean non-Muslims, I mean unbelievers. The words of the Prophet or the words of the saints, they will not. And Allah has said in much more brutal terms in the Quran, describing these ones. Deaf, dumb, and blind. They are nothing but people of the fire. More, you say. So, for us, we should fear that we are not in that category. It's not free for all. Meaning, it's not without its signs. The signs of unbelief, they are open. And the signs of belief, it is also open. The signs of sincerity, it is open for people to know. And the signs of insincerity, they're also open. As Allah is saying, haqq is distinct from batil. No one can be confused. You say, oh, I don't know what is haqq. I'm so confused now. I'm so confused now. Your ego is making you to be confused. It's clear to 99 people in the room, but it's not clear to you. And Allah is saying, haqq is clear from batil. So whose eyes are you going to see? You must see with the eyes of a believer. You don't have that yet. We don't have that yet. You or me, that we must follow the eyes of our Shaykh. We must follow those eyes because he looks with the nur of Allah. Slowly when you start looking at those eyes, you'll start experiencing something, seeing some things also. And you're not going to care so much what anybody says. They can praise you one day, and they can start cursing at you at the other. Maybe a split second, maybe you're happy. Maybe a split second, maybe you're sad. But you push that aside because you have other things that you have to be busy with. What is that? Keep looking with the eyes of your Shaykh. Keep looking. Don't look around too much. Yeah. So we remind people. It is up to you. Allah is Jabbar and Allah is Qahar. He can force us, but He's holding that back. He forced earlier nations. He was quick with His qualities of Jabbar and Qahar to so many nations earlier, but because of Rahmatan lil Alameen, He's holding that back. So we must follow the way of the Prophet, so that Qahar and that Jabbar is not going to touch us too, because like this or like that, we're in this system especially, we are supporting it. You understand? So, you finish your question? Oh no, you didn't finish his question.
BismillahirRahmanirRahim. If a murid continues to use speech that is, let's say, Malayani and not useful, does that affect them similarly, like you remind us about the hadith where laughing too much?
Don't speak about murid. I don't like it when you do that. If you want, speak about yourself. It's not good adab. That means you're judging other people, and I'm going to say, how do you know it's Malayani? Who is saying it is Malayani? Is it me saying Malayani? If it is me, then you must quote from me. You say this murid in this, then we may say. But for you to say, well, if a murid is, then you're pulling yourself out. Then you are judging. You understand? Now talk about yourself.
If I ignore that and continue to use
do you ignore my words or no? Do you? Oh, you see how high opinion he thinks of himself. No, I don't ignore your words. You ignore my words all the time. Are you trying to say you take all my words 100% all the time? Then you ignore. Then please, don't hesitate. Be quick to say, I'm wrong. Be quick to say, I'm sorry. More mercy will reach to you. You're not going to lose anything. I'm not going to hang you. Okay, so you. Yes.
So if I ignore that and continue to use speech that is Malayani or useless, how does that affect me as my spirit or my heart?
What is Malayani? What kind of Malayani? How you say it is Malayani? Like what? If I say, for example, speak something that benefits you and others, right? What is the words that you're going to say that is Malayani? Or the other murid? Or let's say it's you. What words? What words have you noticed on yourself and others that it is Malayani? How do you know it is Malayani?
Like if they don't suit the situation, if they are...
How would you do something that doesn't suit the situation, that you would say it is Malayani for you?
Cracking jokes.
Huh? Cracker
Joking.
jokes?
Joking around, like, you know.
Who says joking around is Malayani? So now Malayani is according to your own definition, and non-Malayani is according to your own definition. Shaykh Effendi jokes around so many times. He's trying to say that's Malayani. So you joke too. So you say it's Malayani. Shaykh Effendi also joke around. You say it's Malayani. You see how important it is to be specific? Look, you're a doctor. You know how infuriating it is? If someone comes to you and say, what is the problem? And you say, I feel pain. Where? I don't know, everywhere. When? Sometimes not, sometimes all the time. They're not being specific and they're just going off. How are you going to help? You're there to help them, right? Yes or no? Then why are you doing that? Joking around. Joking around what? When? Why? How do you know it's Malayani? Maybe the person is joking around because you see another person who is sad. Maybe there is a truth in that joke. Do you know the person? For you, if you think you're joking around and you think that this is, you joke around so much that you make someone to be in ghaflat, this is the point. To pull away from Allah and His Prophet, to pull away from everything and to fall into ghaflat and to cause harm. If you do that, you don't need to ask me the question, because you know what kind of effect it has. If you know that. And if you know that on yourself, then you're going to watch another person also. They're joking around too much, this and that and the other, and then it's becoming very harmful for others. And it's, most of the time, it's not about joking around here that causes harm to people. Most of the time, it's when someone thinks that they're better than other people and they start giving orders, and start putting down other people, and start saying, I have clean underwear, you have dirty underwear, that kind of a thing. Yeah, I said it. You understand? That kind of a thing is no good. How do you know anyway? You go around checking people? Why are you saying that? And if you did, what's wrong with you? If you didn't, then you're going around checking their laundry? Everywhere you look, it's it's weird. Yes or no? I'm joking. This is Malayani? Good. So don't use terms like that. You understand? If it leads you to ghaflat, people who are nighttime, they are cleaning the kitchen, they spend 2-3 hours cleaning after all of you that you ate. Yeah, we're not leaving these things for the woman to clean. Yes? They're mopping everything. They're doing some service. I don't have to force them, I don't have to yell at them, they're doing it, and they're happy doing it. They joke around a little bit. What's my business? It's like one time someone told me a story. You know, they're Americans. They went somewhere, they went to Germany. And they're sitting, and then they're talking, and then they're laughing. You know, they tell jokes, and they're laughing, you know. And some people, especially the Germans, they don't like to laugh too much. Even Sheikh Maulana Sheikh Effendi saying they're very sour people. Don't become German. Huh? You're becoming German, from Pakistan to German. Allah, Allah. They're looking at these Americans as laughing. Of course, the whole world thinks Americans talk too much, too loud. You know? It's not true all the time. But they're talking. You know, like when they're talking, you know, like in the kitchen, they will talk, everyone laughing, everyone's happy. And the whole restaurant looking at them very angry because they're happy. And they're telling you, they started laughing, and this man suddenly went, ha 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 ha, to them. And they were like, what the heck? And they went, ha 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 ha. They're like making fun of them having fun. You understand? Why would you do that? You must feel very bad that someone is feeling happy. Then leave. Why you have to put your spite there? Tamam. So, your situation is understand the whole context. Understand the whole context. Not just to say this is right or this is wrong. Now you're going to turn a little bit away from Western medicine to Eastern medicine. Not just to say this is wrong and this is the medicine, but to understand how this happens. What are the contributing factors? Then what can you do to tell them before it happens? This you must do. You finish your question or you want to continue? Huh? So, let them. A little bit here and there. They're doing a job, yes. Are they joking at you? Am I saying something? No, then don't be busy with that. If I'm saying something, this person is just joking too much, it says, that time, it's not even necessary for you to say so much because I'm already saying it. Unless I tell you, now you have to remind them not to. You understand? Okay. Inshallah, we benefit so much from your questions. Learn so much. It's not Malayani. Okay. What other questions you have? Yes, Bilal. BismillahirRahmanirRahim. Yes.
Shame for the events of Kerbala, I see myself on. I feel that I see myself on both sides of the. I mean, how do I make myself to be on the right side?
By knowing what is your dunya, what is it that is your dunya now, and understanding and not making it to have control over you. You understand? What is your dunya now? This is what Shafani is saying. Those people, their dunya is promised to them. And dunya can come not only with money, but children, wives, husbands, this and that is your dunya. Things that you love, you hold on to. That you're not willing to let go, you're not willing to sacrifice. You understand? Understand what are those things now, and not having it to have control over you. Okay? Even if it is just an intention, just a thought, just you saying to yourself, Ya Rabbi, please don't make me to be a slave to my dunya. Are you asking for help? That's when you will be ready then that time, because you did all this training, you did all this homework, you did all this practice. And when the time comes, even if you're not ready, because all you did is training, you can never really be ready for the battle. You can train for it. But because you train for that, something else will kick in. The himmat, the madad is going to kick in, because you are being sincere in that. You're trying, you're looking out, you're rooting it out, you're not making it to have power over you, to have control over you. Then this incident happens between haq and the thing that you love. You must go to haq. Another thing happens, small maybe, haq or the thing that you love, or the person that you love, you must go to haq. Another thing happens, your share, haq, or the person that you love, then you must go. The thing that you love, or what the share is saying, that is complete opposite, or the guide, or what is haq. Because once you make the intention, there will be not tests. The tests are always there. You start seeing that it is there now. You understand? That you're seeing that, then you are preparing for that. It's not just a thought now. It's not just an intention. Now you know, oh, this day, this is happening. This is a holy day. I must watch out. I should not be sucked into that. This situation is happening. I don't want to do it, but I have to sacrifice that, because it is the good thing to do, it is the right thing to do. So you are getting yourself ready. So when the time comes too, it does not, you are cutting. Yes, it's trying to have control, you cut it, you cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it. Doesn't matter if you think they're small. It's usually the small strings that they tie you up really good. You understand? But a small string comes, you cut, you cut, you cut, you cut, and then it's going to become weaker. If you say these are small, I'm going to wait till the big thing that comes, then I'm going to cut it off. It doesn't happen that way. You may even cut the big thing, but all the small things, attachments are still there. All the attachments are still there. That's why following a guide, it is important. Because the guide, time to time, is going to say, don't listen. Don't love. Let go. Love this one, not what you want. The ego is going to say, no, understand. So if you start following then it'll be easy. When the time comes, you're following orders anyway. You're not going to look back. So the preparation is now. What is happening? It's not about how much you claim you love. It's not how many tears. I love you. It's not. It's not. It's how much you're willing to give up, to sacrifice. And those things that they ask you to sacrifice, you may love it, but don't think that just because you love something or someone, that it is good for you. Yes? This one loves cake. Loves it so much. He sat in front of us, remember that day? And he says, 20 people around him, give him. So everyone gave him the dessert, and it's a whole mountain, and he's eating it alone. He has no problem with that. It is going to kill him. So, in this way, you're going to know. The Shah Effendi is going to shine a flashlight into your heart. Oh, this one, I thought this one is like this, like this. Is nope, it is not. I thought I said, no, it is not. Your ego will play tricks with you. You will say, because of this, because of this, because of this. And our way is just to grab everything from the root. It says, no, it's not. Don't try to make excuses. Don't be passive aggressive. Yeah. Don't try to be slick. 1,000 excuses coming out. We say this is wrong. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, maybe you don't understand me suddenly. MashaAllah. And the time is finished, then they say, okay, go walk your own way. Everyone has to walk their paths, you understand? So, don't think we are so special. I have to say this again. Don't think you are so special to Sahibul Saif. I have to say this because I have to make this even more specific. Because there are people who think that they're so special to Shaykh Effendi. You know, he gave this to me. You know, he gave this permission to me. You know, he tells me, they think they're so special. We are not. The only thing that makes us special is our taqwa and serving other people. That time, if you have taqwa and you're serving other people, never you're going to say you are special, because it is a matter of honor. Honorable people don't praise themselves like that. What, we don't remember where we came from? How we think we are special? Anything special, it's He put it on us. We don't deserve. He gives and He can take. So don't think you're so special to Sahibul Saif. Don't think you're so special by this, special by that. Oh, nobody understands and everybody is against you. Same old pattern. You think you're so special. When you don't get the attention from people, you think then everyone hates you and they play games with you. And you are the victim all over again. No, we are not special. Not you, not me. We are not special. You understand? The work we're doing, they can choose someone better than us. But we are here because they have chosen us to do it. We better do it much as we can. Astaghfirullah. Okay. As much as enough. Wa min Allahu tawfiq al-Fatiha. Amin. Assalamu alaikum.
الحقد والحسد ولا تجعل علي تباعة لأحد. اللهم إني أسألك الأخذ بأحسن ما تعلم والترك لسيء ما تعلم، وأسألك التكفل بالرزق والزهد في الكفاف والمخرج بالبيان من كل شبهة والفلج بالصواب في كل حجة والعدل في الغضب والرضاء والتسليم لما